Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. The state is asking Coloradans to be mindful of water use while we're in this historic drought, right? But some homeowners in Superior are receiving notices from their HOA about brown lawns.
9 News reporter Ria Jha joins us now after speaking with some of those neighbors. Ria?
Yeah, we got emails that the Rock Creek HOA sent to residents, and in those emails, the HOA acknowledged the drought, but then followed it up with how the drought didn't exempt the community from maintaining its appearance standards. As the days get hotter, the grass gets browner.
Lawn is a little bit brown. I didn't think mine was too bad, but
People like James Shima didn't think there was much to do about it, as the state is currently experiencing historically severe drought conditions. The governor even issuing a statewide emergency drought proclamation this month.
this is not a neglect issue. This is basically attempting to preserve water.
James thought he was doing the right thing by limiting his water use until he and his other brown grass neighbors received a letter from the Rock Creek Neighborhood HOA.
As a HOA violation, please address brown turf, dirt areas of your yard.
The violation notice essentially says they have 30 days to make the grass green, or at least have a plan to make the grass green.
We've talked to some sodding companies and they said, well, if we put sod in today, it might work, but you'd have to do 4 to 5 times a day of watering for the rest of the summer.
Having a green lawn is not where we should be prioritizing our water usage.
Across the street, Michelle is also concerned about conserving water. In response to community members, the HOA said the town of Superior has not implemented mandatory water restrictions and that the state's drought declaration does not prohibit irrigation.
The HOA is not operating within a vacuum. The HOA is operating within a larger community.
In a statement, the governor's office said they would, quote, be gravely concerned if HOAs are fining Coloradans who are stepping up as part of the solution by limiting lawn watering. So far, we haven't heard of anyone receiving fines.
What we do matters. Small things matter.
I reached out to the Rock Creek HOA and did not receive a response. And there is a state law that says an HOA cannot force a homeowner to water more than local water restrictions allow. But since the town of Superior does not have mandatory water restrictions right now, that law would not apply here. Ria Jha, 9 News.
That's one of those scratch your head kind of things.
I mean, at some point, the way it looks, and we know that's important, but it's not important than our environment, right, Kathy?
Exactly, and this is something we've been talking about and preparing for months and months, is the drought, the ongoing drought, the elevated fire danger, and everybody's being asked to do their part, however big or small that might be. So this is an interesting story that I'm sure we'll continue to follow up on, because there is no meaningful moisture coming to Colorado over the course of the next 3 to maybe 5 days. So tonight we're watching for an advancing cool front that will take temperatures down. Today, one of the notable temperatures was Pueblo, 106 degrees. That was a record high temperature down there for the date. And now we don't have the greatest air quality. We have an ozone alert for tonight and tomorrow for those high levels of ground ozone. Temperatures are coming down. The second cool front of the day moving through. Humidity values are coming up, and the fire weather warnings have been canceled for many areas. But the wind, pretty ferocious out there for some areas. And glad I'm not landing at DIA right now, because those winds out of the north and northeast will go for a little bit longer. But we'll also usher in a cooler air mass overnight. We're going to drop into the 50s, and it's also going to give us a cooler day tomorrow. Coming up in just a bit, we're going to look ahead to the Father's Day weekend and when we might see some rain here in Denver. It's part of the 7-day forecast.
An Air Force veteran has been missing for 5 days, and now his family is asking for the public's help in finding him.
63-year-old Kevin Bailey was last seen at the senior living community where he lives on Friday. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez joins us from the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office with the plea from his loved ones. Colton.
Yeah, Kevin's family says whenever he needed a ride, he would always give them a call. But they also say this isn't something that he's ever done before, and it's his sudden disappearance that scares them the most.
So Kevin was an active, friendly, life-loving, independent adult.
63-year-old Kevin Bailey was last seen on Friday, June 12th.
It's been 5 days. It's been 5 days. I don't know if he's had food. I don't know if he's had water. He definitely hasn't had his medications that he needs.
For Kevin's stepdaughter, Janine Harvell,
So it's very scary. It's very scary.
Kevin is described as a black man, 6 feet tall, around 150 pounds, with gray hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a dark sleeveless t-shirt, black pants, and black sandals. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says on June 12th, Kevin was seen leaving his senior living community, telling an employee he was catching a bus to visit friends. Family members say they spoke with Kevin on the phone that same day. Investigators say the last place Kevin's cell phone pinged was near East 36th Avenue and Akron Court, about 8 miles from where he lived.
He did say himself that he got in a car with someone on Friday. He could have gotten in a car with anyone on any of these days, so he could be anywhere across the Front Range.
Janine says time plays a critical factor in bringing her father home.
He has a traumatic brain injury that has caused a dementia. He needs this medication to live.
She's praying that someone knows something.
Someone has seen him, and someone will see him again. Kevin, wherever you are, just know that there's thousands of people looking for you, so please ask for help.
Janine tells us if you do come across her father, that he might not know where he is and he might be confused. All that she asks that if you do see Kevin, you treat him with kindness and you call 911. Live outside the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
State prosecutors are appealing the decision to vacate convictions against the former paramedics who injected Elijah McLean with ketamine before his death. In 2019, Aurora police stopped McLean while he was walking home unarmed from a convenience store. They threw him to the ground, handcuffed him, and restrained him on the ground for 10 minutes before paramedics injected him with ketamine. His heart stopped and he later died. A grand jury indicted the 3 officers and the 3 paramedics. Juries convicted 1 of the officers and 2 paramedics. 2 weeks ago, the Colorado Appeals Court tossed the paramedics' convictions of criminally negligent homicide, ruling that the judge improperly withheld jury instructions sought by their attorneys. The state is now appealing that decision to the Colorado Supreme Court.
The city of Fort Collins has agreed to pay close to $400,000 to settle a lawsuit. Today's announcement comes after police pepper sprayed a man at close range in 2021. It happened after 2 officers responded to a call claiming 2 men were trespassing on the roof at Brothers Bar and Grill in Old Town. Once there, the men were no longer on the roof, but an officer ended up tackling Andrew Coolis to the ground and then pepper sprayed him in the face. Coolis says he now has permanent haze in his vision. Charges against Coolis were later dismissed. The lawsuit from Coolis claims the officer used excessive force while unlawfully arresting him. But an internal affairs investigation found the officer did not violate any policies. The city says it settled the suit to avoid continued costs, and it's not admitting to any liability or wrongdoing. Leaders in Fort Collins say they've already stopped getting and sending data from flock cameras. That's after the city council voted 6-1 last night to immediately end its contract with the company. The city is now navigating whether it wants to contract a different surveillance company. The police department is working on a surveillance policy that would place parameters on any future contracts.
Because technology is changing so rapidly, we didn't want to just go with a different company and then have the same issues or concerns from the public.
We've been operating for more than 100 years without flock. We'll be just fine.
Fort Collins owns 14 of the 50-plus flock cameras around the city. Those are the ones impacted by this decision. The rest are privately owned.
OSHA is now investigating a worker's death at the construction site for the Broncos' new training facility. Arapahoe County Sheriff's deputies responded to the site Monday night. They say a construction worker was found unresponsive by co-workers in a confined ceiling area. South Metro used tools to access the worker, but he was pronounced dead on scene. A coroner will determine the cause of death, but a safety expert says OSHA will look into other things like the work process and conditions at the time. They'll also try to understand the tasks the worker was doing and who directed it.
They will be looking at the training. That's typically the first thing that they pull in any administrative paperwork, confined space, login, entry logs, and things like that. And obviously the heat and any environmental factors. There's also the personal aspect of it. Was this a medical related emergency?
Turner Construction is the lead company on site. They say the man who died was not their employee, that he worked for a subcontractor. In a statement today, they said they are supporting all investigations, including OSHA's. The project site remains closed. Former CU buff, three-time U.S. Olympic runner and bronze medal winner Jenny Simpson is hospitalized in North Carolina tonight. She collapsed on the track after suffering a medical episode while pacing a mile group at an event in Raleigh last night. Simpson received CPR and treatment from an automated external defibrillator before she was rushed to the hospital. The 39-year-old was taking part in a community track event hosted by Sir Walter Running, with all the runners of all levels encouraged to attend. The event also featured a chance to meet Simpson. After graduating from CU in 2009, Simpson won the bronze medal in the 1,500 meters at the 2016 Games in Rio. She also won the 1,500 at the 211 World Championships, along with silver medals in 2013 and 2017.